It feels like it was many a months ago where Plarium said that there was an alleged relic rebalance coming to the game where, again, if you look at some of these bottom tier relics that you have here, I've got a couple of them on my account as well. The Axe Serpentis, just the collective, some very bad relics, the Hand of Uncreation, which probably could be a little bit better, maybe, I don't know, more RNG in the game, we love that. It's been a long time since Plarium said they were going to rebalance some of these relics, and over a year of relics being in the game, we now see what they are like at their maximum potential, and some of them are much more egregious than others. Namely, I'm going to talk about my relic that I think needs to be in the game, but needs to be changed in the Wand of Submission, okay? Let me say this. I think that relics and the wand are great additions to the game. I do think that the wands are fine where they are, except for one small part should get changed. And here's why I think that. But really quick before I get into that, reminder, guys, you guys want to use my link to get a buddy into raid, start a new raid account. You can start out with Elenaril for free, as well as Desert Queen for that code for Tuhana Rock. Then you're going to get Tagoar, Vergis, and Deacon Armstrong every 10 levels. As you level up, everything you need will be down in the description. Go check that out. So check that out. But guys, the wands have to get nerfed. Here is why. There are certain characters in the game, design-wise, and I know these might be outliers, but take Furad Wolfheart, for example, whose kit gets completely destroyed by the Wand of Submission. And if they're not going to make heroes like Furad, or another example that Nub just showcased, Karosa, actually be immune to the debuffs they apply in the freeze. There's freeze here. Then if you swap to his alt form, right, which is a nuker really only for arena, there's a forced freeze on everybody when you get a kill, right? There's another forced freeze here. You have no choice when using the kit but to be churning out debuffs that can get deflected back to you. I think, and I don't want to hear people say, oh, just change your gear set. I think, in my personal opinion, they need to nerf the Wand of Submission so that instead of deflecting the debuffs back at the producer, they simply negate the effects and submit the effect of the ability that's incoming. So when champions like Furad, and this really is a balanced nightmare, these champions are not viable so long as level 15 Wands of Submission, or 6 or 18 even, that have a 50-50 chance to make the kit useless when it's just trying to do what it was designed to do. You have a design problem. You have not balanced champions in mind with the Wand of Submission, and their debuffs, especially their CC debuffs, get thrown back at them when you have no choice but to use the ability. For things like Armands, right? And this was an example that people use. You could build him in pinpoint to soak his own stun if it gets deflected back at him, right? But, you have a choice to not use that A2. Granted, you could get polymorphed either way. Maybe that's a bad example. But, I think kits like that have become super unviable because of the Wand of Submission. And there are ways where you can leave the Wand of Submission incredibly strong and valuable, considering people put a ton of time and resources into upgrading it, without outright destroying certain characters' kits. Take another example. Look at Karosa, man. Nub showcased this perfectly. You literally cannot use this champion because of the Wand of Submission. You start in base form with some tankiness, right? You've got Fortify, Taunt, and Unkillable. Then you've got, the full cleanse with the increased attack and shield. And then you swap forms here. And in order to set up with your Shatter, you put a True Fear on all enemies. And most enemies now in Arena are going to have a Wand of Submission. So it's not just a 50-50 that it gets deflected back onto you. You're rolling a 50-50 at least 2 times in a fight consistently. You are consistently deflecting fear back onto yourself with your setup ability, meaning you can't even use your setup ability on the champion. This is an example of an incredibly poorly designed kit solely because of the Wand of Submission's existence in this game. And if the Wand of Submission, instead of deflecting it back to the attacker, simply negated the CC effect or negated the CC debuff, it would still be incredibly strong, but it wouldn't be overwhelming to the point where it's actually ruining certain kits in the game. And listen, I hate Armands as much as the next guy, right? But for one, I think Fabian's better because he's got the self-cleanse on himself because he really needed that. But I think there's a lot of different champions out there that have no option to get the maximum value on their kit to actually use these skills. And the fact that you have to build some of these with Pinpoint, the fact that you have to build some of them with Mercurial, limits what the kit should be doing by its design, and that is one of the downsides of some of these relics, which is why I do think they should go back in and rebalance them. And let me make this clear. I don't think they should nerf the Wand of Submission's actual submission of the CC. I personally love the fact that wands are in the game that actually allow you to mitigate incoming CC debuffs. I think that deflecting it back to the attacker, now that we're at a point in the game where you have so many wands. Look, I struggled with relics for a long time. I was late to the Chimera party, but if you look at the relics that I have, I mean, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 wands, and 6 of them are level 12 or higher. And at level 12, you get 15% more. You're at a 40% chance to deflect back to the attacker, man. That's really consistently, especially if you're rolling numerous wands on one team. I mean, it's insane. It's an insane amount. And personally, I don't think that's good for the game because it's making a lot of champions that could shake up the meta. Again, Furad is a prime example. First of all, they really messed up this rework. It's crazy to me that you rework Furad in a certain way, and then the new mythical is immune to freeze, but you can't make this guy immune to his own freeze debuffs that are conditional based on the faction that the enemies are from? I mean, that's such a massive miss from Plarium. But if the wands were a little bit more reined in, then his kit would have a lot more chances to shine. Now, am I mad because I've pulled 2 Furads and that's why I'm angry? Partially, but I saw the same thing happen to Nub with Karosa. I saw the same thing happen with several other champions that genuinely could be viable champions. That's their entire existence is completely irrelevant because they cannot control the CC they place, and there's almost always going to be a Wand of Submission out there, and Plarium refuses to design the champions in a way with that in mind, in that either 1, nerf the Wand of Submission so it's not deflecting it back, or 2, when it comes to kits, especially mythicals, especially Karosa, especially Furad, like the new Barbarian mythical that I believe is in the game now. Is he in the game? He is. Arne, look at this. Super cool champion here. He's immune to freeze, stun, and provoke. So he's immune to CC that he doesn't even bring to the table. This guy doesn't even bring freeze. He doesn't even bring it. It's not even on his kit, but he gets to be immune to it all, but you can't make the guys who are chucking them out and getting them deflected back onto them. It's the only thing that makes their kit viable, immune to their own CC debuffs. I mean, to me, that's such low-hanging fruit to have Furad and Karosa be immune to the debuffs they put out as mythical champions. But, you know, I think there's a big design oversight here. So if you guys held the reins to raid, what would you all do? Would you guys nerf the wand so it's not deflecting debuffs back and doing a little bit of a relic rebalance? So it's still viable. It would listen, if it negated the effect, it would still be good. It still would be a very, very strong relic, right? Or would you balance these champions or design these champions with Wands of Submission in mind for the meta? I'm open to hearing any opinions out there. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know down below. I appreciate y'all watching. Take care. Much love. Peace out.